Hey there, super friends. It's Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Friday, January 4th, 2019. What is up? Week is over, so that's exciting. It was a short week, but in some respects it was kind of a long week. Listened to yesterday's audio, and it seems like if I'm on one of the higher speed limit roads and my window is open, that is when we get the interference. So I'll try to keep that in mind. I did move where I clipped my mic, so the audio on this one may be louder because I clipped it to my hoodie as opposed to my seatbelt. We'll see how that goes. You know, it's a lot of experimenting, trial and error. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. So let's continue talking about Arena. Is this a turning lane? I don't want to turn. I want to go up to that other light. Oh, okay, that's all right. Sorry. So I've talked about different aspects, and I do want to say, like, in plain words, so it can't be misunderstood, though there are things about Arena that I don't personally like and that I would like to see some sort of change or improvement on, I'm by no means saying it's a bad game. It's a lot of fun, and if you just want to go on and play in the, non-ranked best of one queue, hey, it's a good time. And yeah, like I said before, you'll be running around in that queue and having a grand old time playing your cobbled together crap against everybody else's cobbled together crap, and you'll eventually run into like a for realsies deck, and that's a little annoying. It's like when somebody shows up with a constructed deck to a draft fight, or it's like, great. I'm playing this 4/4 for 5 because it has flying, and you've got Aurelia. Multiple copies of Aurelia. But again, when it doesn't really matter, if you're not enjoying a particular game you're playing, there's really nothing wrong with spot conceding. Just like, I'm done. In fact, I used to do that quite a bit before the latest change set, and I still do from time to time have to just randomly concede to my opponent because, like, one of the kids needs something and husband's not available to take care of it. Before rank mattered, my threshold for, alright, I'll just concede this match, was much lower, where, Bird would come out and say, hey, can you get me a cup so I can get some juice? And I'd be like, this match is only kind of fun. It's not really my favorite. I'll just concede now. Whereas with the ranked, I'm like, can you just wait until I finish this game? Or, are you going to die of thirst in the meantime? So, the ranked does make it feel like it's heavier, It's the difference between when I used to sit around the kitchen table and play with my buddies, and then when I started going to F&M. And even when I first started going to F&M, it was kind of like when I first started playing Arena, where I'm like, it's just here for the funsies. And then, I won some games. And I was like, oh man, winning's kind of nice. I'd like to do more of that, please. And then, even now, like, yes, I think Humans still counts as a tier 1 modern deck. It's not quite the Scourge Force it was there for a while in Modern. It was sitting on top for so long that I was starting to think, maybe they do need to ban something. Like, maybe this deck is just too powerful. I'm glad it didn't really get there. Alright, we'll talk about all that next week, because that doesn't really have to do with Arena. What? Why are you not going, friend? There you go. Good job. But I don't play humans because it's a tier 1 deck. I play humans because it's everything I love about Magic. It's these little tiny dorks that on their own, they're, kind of okay. But, you got the lieutenants, you get to pump them up, and they all do nifty stuff. Like, I love tribal decks. I love little, weenie decks. And humans definitely fits that bill. So, when I watched Collins Mullen, I don't think his last name has the S. But when I watched him play humans that first time at the Open, I was like, this is my deck. This is, I'd been trying to break into Modern for a while, and I played this really watered down Tron list because I didn't have O stones, so I played Perilous Vaults instead, and I didn't have any Karns, so I just played 4 Ugins and extra Worm Coils. And I'm not even sure that those were the biggest hindrances of that deck. I really think the biggest hindrance that deck had was it was in my hands, and I kept trying to play it as like a more aggressive deck, and old red-green Tron was at its heart a control deck, and I'm not so much with that. By turn 3, I should not have a nearly full grip. But in any case, I really wanted to build Boggles, and everybody was like, that's not a real deck. Then I wanted to build Soul Sisters. That's not a real deck. And then I saw the 4-color humans list. If you were with me back then, I talked a lot about it because I'd played it a lot on X-Mage, and I'm like, I love this deck. This deck is great. But it wasn't really a great deck. And I got the, tribal is just not really a thing that works in Modern. And then Collins Mullen did it. And he was my hero. And I've loved this deck. And even though it's fallen from, being the top of the top, I haven't switched decks. Why? Because I love this deck. And I'm pretty decent at playing it. So, even now, when I go to F&M, it's mostly about going to have a good time, but there is still that, want to win. I like getting the prize payout and everything. And so that's kind of the same thing with Arena. Now that they made rank matter, that it ties to something rather than, hey, you're silver now. And I'm like, great. It really kind of means nothing to me. I've gotten more competitive about it, which has definitely sucked some of the fun out of it. But I'm trying to work on balancing that. I think a lot of the problem that a lot of players have with Arena is closer to Duels of the Planeswalkers than it is to MTGO. And at first, it seemed like everybody just wanted Arena to be a shinier, flashier MTGO, and it's not. That's not what it's about at all. And even a lot of my gripes about it are from the eyes of somebody who's played Paper Magic for, off and on, oh my god, it's been 20 years. Jesus, I'm old. Oh, that hurts. Anyway, but yeah, I've played Magic off and on for 20 years. And I've been playing organized play for, I guess, about 7 years now. Because I think Bird was still real little. Yeah, it was whenever, the Scars of Mirrodin block was ending and the Innistrad block was starting. I think Innistrad was my first pre-release. The first Innistrad set. So, I've been doing this for a while. And Paper Magic has a certain feel about it. And I even look at Arena and I'm weighing it against paper tournaments and the way organized play works with paper Magic. And they're different. And a lot of us just kind of need to accept that. I still definitely feel like best of one for the ranked play because ranked play matters, because you can get prizes from it. And I'm pretty sure that there was mention of your rank in Arena or doing well in Arena somehow translating into getting to play in Mythic Championships. I could be making that up there. Like, Brain likes to fill in blanks and kind of make me think that we read it somewhere when really Brain's just saying, you know what would fit right here? This. So if that is in fact the case, and this is an avenue to what used to be the Pro Tour, then yeah, I definitely feel like their ranked play should mimic more of paper Magic. And the thought of paper Magic to going to best of one just kind of makes my head implode a little bit. So that means clearly Arena must go to best of three, right? Like I had said yesterday, I really like Jim Davis's idea that, like, pick a rank and say, okay, if you've done the grind to get to here, you're clearly kind of serious about this. You want to get involved in the more competitive scene and everything. So now we're going to take it to best of three. Make sure players are aware of this. Like, the first time I had signed up for a constructed challenge, it was apparently best of three. And nothing on the screen really said this that I took note of. And I'll admit I'm one of those people that I just kind of gloss over blocks of text. So I submit my deck and everything. I play my first game and I lose. And it's like, okay, go into sideboards. And I'm like, going to what now? Or no, it was waiting while your opponent sideboards. And I'm like, you know what would have been great? Is when I submitted this deck list, if Arena would have said, hey there, Skippy, did you know you get to play with a sideboard for this event? Would you like to add a sideboard to this deck and take you into the deck editor so you can put a sideboard in? Because everything else I'd played on Arena at that point had been best of one. Now, again, this could have probably been in the text on the screen and I just didn't read it because I was there to play, not to read. But a warning message would have been nice. But in any case, not a big deal. So I think Arena is great. I think it's fun. I think there are a lot of us, including me, that need to just kind of shift how we look at it. Come on, dude. God, you know what I hate the most? It's not the people that insist on wanting to be in front of you when you're trying to merge on the highway. That I'm totally fine with. It's the people that are like, oh, I see you're trying to merge, and the highway's really busy, and I'm just gonna kind of hang out right here in the same space you need to be occupying, not going to drop my speed or increase it so that you can either pass me or merge in behind me. I'm just gonna totally prevent you from merging. Jesus, why? Why do you do that? Hey, it wouldn't be driving rants without some ranting about driving, right? So, this was a conversation I actually was listening in on Brad Nelson's stream today, which if you haven't checked out his stream, I highly recommend. He's very interactive with his chat at this point. He has mentioned that for some of the more competitive stuff, he may be less interactive, but right now he's kind of having fun setting up his stream and getting feedback and everything. But yeah, it's a pretty cool stream to catch. Brad is a pretty nice guy. Like, I got to meet him at Nationals in October of the year before last. He was, like, super nice to me. I know his kind of persona on the Versus series was more of a salty player, but I'm pretty sure that was just, like, a persona for the show. But I definitely totally recommend checking out his stream. It is the same, like, his Twitch ID is the same as his Twitter tag. So if you follow him on Twitter, just copy everything after the @ symbol and search Twitch for that. He also tweets out when he streams. But in any case, so I was listening to his stream, and my project was having kind of a hissy fit today. So I had some background processes going on my computer that basically halted me being able to do work until they completed themselves. So I was checking out his stream, and I was, talking in the chat, and I had a nice back and forth with the guy that I'd mentioned that I don't really want to put a bunch of money into Arena because there's literally no way to get it back out. There's also no way to turn this collection, like, once rotation hits. There's no way to take your cards that are rotating and turn them into new cards. Now, they did mention, and I'm sure that they mentioned this one, and I'm not making this one up, a Standard Plus format. I don't know if it's going to be exclusive to Arena or if it's going to translate to the paper world as well. But it sounds like it's basically what Frontier was trying to be, only a newer starting point. Where it's a new non-rotating format. Important point of note, Modern is not an Eternal format. I understand that it seems like a distinction with little difference, but a lot of times people say about Modern being an Eternal format, and it's not. It is a non-rotating format. And the big difference is, in Modern, like when Eternal Masters was printed, cards that were not legal in Modern prior to that printing were still not legal in Modern. But they were legal in all the Eternal formats, like Commander, Legacy, Vintage. And that's kind of what the difference is mostly has to do with when supplemental products come out, what is now legal in Modern, what is not. Modern doesn't get new legal cards from that. Modern gets newly legal cards from what's printed into Standard. Actually, I guess the Commander products, I don't know. In any case, so it would be a non-rotating format, the Standard Plus, and it would give you something to do with these cards that rotate. So maybe once I see what that's about and see how I feel about that, if I'm feeling good enough about it, that will assuage a lot of the worry of, well, what do I do with all this junk once it literally becomes useless? Is, oh, well, it's not going to become useless. Here's a use for it. Oh, okay, cool. I was going back and forth with this guy, and I think he took me as being more aggressive about it than I was intending to be. Like, I think he really mistook my tone. When I was like, personally, I'm not about putting a bunch of money into this, and here's why, here are my concerns. And he's like, well, it's still cheaper than putting all the money into paper Standard. And, well, yeah, if you're talking one or the other, if you're like, well, I'm either going to play Paper Magic or play on Arena, and I want to do what's cheapest, probably grinding on Arena, honestly. But I'm not looking for an either-or scenario. A lot of the appeal of Paper Magic is getting to go to the guild and playing there with, all these guys that I've become friends with, and the couple ladies, too. All the people that I've become friends with in the community there, because we have a really good community. If you go back to a lot of my earlier episodes, there was a lot of ranting of, I don't understand why we have to fight sexism in Magic because it's really not that bad. I think, oh, that's my window whistling. I think people are trying to make it sound worse than it is. And I regret a lot of that because I've come to realize that it's not that it's gotten so very much better. It has gotten much better than the early days when I first started gaming. I'm not going to lie. Things were, things were pretty rough back then, being a woman in gaming. And the big difference was it was accepted. It was generally just accepted that this was the way of things. Whereas now at least people are aware of it, and because people are aware of it, more people are willing to speak out against it. And yeah, I just wasn't seeing it. Like, I don't know. I don't see this happening. And I've come to realize that a lot of that is I have a really great community at my LGS. That, like, we don't really tolerate people, harassing and bullying and everything else. Now, it's regardless of gender. It's not that, oh, they watch my back because I'm a woman. No, we take care of our community, and we take care of a lot of the problems, amongst ourselves. But the store owner, he's also part of our community. So he is very receptive to bringing concerns to him about behavior and whatnot. I know husband had gone to like a random F&M the one week. And this was back when Theros was still in standard. And he's playing against an opponent with foreign cards. God, do I hate foreign cards. And his opponent had played a favored Hoplite. At the time, he didn't know what the card was. So, and it was like, a Russian copy or whatever. So husband asked, what does it do? And when his opponent explained it to him, what husband understood from the explanation, I'm trying to very carefully word this because I don't want to accuse somebody of misrepresenting without having been there. This could have been simply a miscommunication. But he asked the kid what it did, and the belief he came away from that exchange with was if it was targeted by a spell or an ability, I think Favorite Hoplite got protection from color of the controller's choice. And husband was playing mono red Goblin Burn. So his thought was, I can't kill this thing because I can't target it with burn spells. And I said, no, that's not how heroic works. And he said, no, I know how heroic works, and this is a different effect. And I said, no, it's not. And I was kind of pissy about it, and I posted on Facebook about it, and I happened to be friends with the store owner on Facebook, and, he reached out to me right away in a DM, and he's like, does he happen to remember who he played? And I said, look, I'm not saying that cheating happened. And he's like, no, I understand, but I want to look into this, to express that, hey, you have to explain these things better, or, offer to bring up the Oracle text or whatever. Because I don't want these kind of negative experiences. So we have a great community. And that is a lot of the appeal in playing. When I hit a slump where I just can't fucking buy a win, it doesn't really bug me at F&M because I like these people. It's not just about playing the game, it's about going and hanging out with everybody and everything. So I'm never going to give that up for an electronic substitute. So to say, well, it's definitely better value than paper magic, as far as the bang for your buck, I mean, yeah, that's cool, but you're running under the assumption that I'm looking at an either-or scenario, and I'm not. So a lot of it comes down to what your priorities are and how you want to see the game. So I'm coming up on the driveway, so I got to end this one. I even took a little tiny bit extra. Shh, don't tell anybody. But as always, if you made it this far with me, I thank you very much for listening. And feel free to reach out. You can email us, lastpointgaming@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter @StrangerSparrow. You can comment here. You can follow or subscribe to the Last Point Gaming YouTube channel and leave comments there. I would really appreciate a little more interaction and feedback. Again, as far as the quality of well, if you didn't record it while you were driving, it's kind of the whole shtick of the show. So I can see about maybe getting a better mic that, cuts out the background noise a little better, but that's about the extent there. But if there's things that you want to hear me talk about, or like, I'm sick of hearing you talk about this, let me know. That'd be great. But again, as always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll talk to you all on Monday.